Okay, hello, everybody. So I've just been in a real podcasting type of mood lately, and available, and it's rainy. Available to do it. It's rainy day today. Just bear with me for just a moment. I feel the dog wants this now. And you weren't started yet, but I knew you were gonna. And uh, so basically, yeah, I'm gonna do a song here. Um, he was, doing something upstairs with it. Just a moment here. Ooh, this could be more special than I even realized. Okay. So he was doing something upstairs. He can use the phone. And last night, and kind of the past couple nights, were proof that this one, the only other device I think that we have that can podcast at the moment, kind of can't because it's got a very wonky network signal problem of some sort. And but it did say that I think he has more patience for it, and I didn't have to, the first time, but then I went away, did it about 15 minutes on my device, on the other device, and then basically I came up and I don't remember what I said. I said something to the effect of, I'm going to try and use the phone. I know, I know you could, but he says, okay, I'll fine. I'll use it. I says, thanks, you're the best. He said, and I said, what did I say? I said something about, so maybe something to the effect of, you're the greatest. He says, thanks. He says, no, thank you. No, thank you. And all that. And it almost kind of connects. They're saying this at a very special wedding, actually. And my aunt, all she said was, oh, I guess you like country since that's a Reba song. Wasn't a whole lot of other comments, but I guess we were distracted at the event, and it is what it is. But I do feel before I start, my angels are saying, Ray said, you got it, bud. Earlier when you said, you might not be able to sing with me anymore, that it passed away, and if you're struggling to find footage for whatever reason, but, and this isn't me tooting my bugle. This is me, as I say, this is me and my telepathy saying that my friend Ray is saying that, and use the two other things for long blades over there and being good, saying that, my friend is a very good singer, and he would sound great with so many other people singing. And at the moment, at this point in time, I don't feel like I'm closely connected with a lot of other musicians. The open mic I used to go to is a little bit harder to get to, and there's some triggers, both with the place being connected to loss, because even though I do this, it's still hard when you lose loved ones that pass away or people that and then also the option of it being a venue, possibly, because I don't think I could pay $100. I might make $100, and I kind of want to make a profit, not just what I had to fork out. So for this performance thing that I was wanting to do, and this and that, and I don't do bars very much these days. And yeah, Rachel's saying your voice deserves to be heard, bud, and I'm reminding you of that, and pushing you to do it. Not that you need much pushing sometimes. I would say it to a lot of people, but she says you've got a lot of uniqueness about you, and that's one reason I'm happy to call you a friend, she says. And this was not expected when I did this video, so it might be a little longer than I thought it was going to be. She's like, I can let you sing. Okay, thanks. And my dad's birthday is tomorrow, so I was going to do something kind of connected to that for tomorrow. And I didn't know what. And I might still, because I want to ask for suggestions. Nobody's here right now. We're a few minutes in. Sometimes they are, sometimes there isn't. I don't have suggestions. I might want suggestions for what to do on that day, and maybe just to talk about them. I've been talking about my friend Ray and her legacy, the type of person that she was. I do talk about my dad a little bit. I did in some of the videos the other day, and some people may not care. It's special to me. You might relate, and maybe you'd be inspired to do the same, whether they're living or not. I know it's not Father's Day. I don't remember when Father's Day is. Kind of happens when you lose your dad, or lose a parent when it's celebrating. It's kind of like you stop keeping track. But yeah, basically. So it's not her fault, really. It's not her fault, but I do sense, and some of what she said, my dad and I would agree with as well. But and again, like seriously, I know how to some people it might come across, oh, he's just making it up and talking himself up, but no. I mean, maybe we should all do that sometimes, but no, I can tell the difference, and this is definitely the souls of my loved ones, and like I would not necessarily, unless you've had the experiences or have seen enough other people channeling, whether it's me and my other videos or other people that do it. And I think that should push him, but it looks like it's charging, so you can't say. You can't say. And this lady, this person has a lot of short videos. Well, a little bit of someone come think of it, or maybe I'm just getting used to it. I've only seen 2 or 3 of the videos. And but basically, she's saying, I'm so sorry, but that, you may not ever get to sing with my voice again until I pass away. I know how much you would love to, though. So she says, I'm giving this to you. And what this is, first of all, I want to plug something because it wasn't in the title of the previous video and the person left, so whatever. I think this is a very unique title, though, because I need to know this YouTuber. And I wasn't talking about myself. I mean, I'm always learning about myself. But so people might think, oh, it's a few minutes in now, I've probably missed it. But no. but yeah, so I'll wait to plug that. I'll wait to plug that. But for right now, she says, yeah, I want to give you this. And, it's a good way to honor my dad. Ever since I learned of this song, my top memories are singing it at that wedding. And also, and then also an agency thing for a couple of staff on that particular occasion. It wasn't like an event, but it was at an agency, and we were having lunch, and there was a couple. There wasn't. It was just quiet there, and so there happened to be a couple of staff, and I sang this, and I've talked about genetically. And anonymous. Normally, I don't struggle with this word. Anonymously, yeah, there it is. I've talked about them a little bit, and what they've meant to me, and the feelings around these two people. But yes, Dad's birthday is tomorrow. Grandma's is 2 days after that, because we've often lived in different provinces, and didn't used to back when they were all alive. None of them are now, actually. Celebrate them all together. Celebrate them both, either on the same date or just after. I don't know. It's one of those things you sometimes forget. I mean, my mother and me have birthdays close to each other, kind of, and I often forget. And it's also close to Remembrance Day and kind of Halloween. And I often, anyway. But yeah, my two least. No, just kidding. Well, but anywho, without any further ado, not that there's anybody watching at the moment. I know my angels are. I know that others may watch afterwards. Somebody may turn in during. I'll sing the song. If somebody's here afterwards, I'll show the person and I'll say, who is this? She mostly has short videos, even though she does sometimes talk in them. And actually, I can tell you her first name because this cover says it. But she does have a long interview, and I haven't looked at all of her channel yet. I've found a couple of her videos from, I think, 5 years ago. I've seen a few things on YouTube already today, but the most recent one is a year ago. So I'm kind of curious what's happened to her. And I feel like this is someone I maybe meant to know. And I know asking on YouTube could be a little awkward because, you don't want to put her name. But maybe if you know where she's from, or here's an idea, possibly. Uh, I don't want to forget about it, but I'm tributing someone who passed away, so I might not forget about it. And one thing I do notice, though, is that this channel seems to have struggled as well. Sure, the first video I found of her, she, like me, sometimes gets a little bit distracted and long-winded. But she still, and so what if she hadn't? She still got to the song within, and did the whole video within 6 minutes. A couple of them I've seen, she's gotten right to it. And then, like I say, there's an interview, and I haven't seen anything else yet, but basically, it doesn't hugely matter. But this is why I say sometimes the count of views really means nothing. Sometimes because, and I talked about that last night, because, for instance, this one has 16 views 5 years ago. She has 119 subscribers. I don't know if she only posted it to her subscribers. Either way, and I don't know if it sometimes counts somebody more than once. But either way, it has 16 views. This woman's video, and it's really good. And I noticed kind of low count on one of her other ones too. No reactions, no comments. I don't usually put myself on the top of a comment stream and somebody else left. Somebody left over there for like a minute, but either came back, somebody else here. I don't usually put myself at the top of the comment stream. I have a certain, not a trolling sort of way, but I have a certain method that I sometimes use when I'm doing YouTube commenting. But once or twice this morning, her video being one of them, I was like, okay, I'll be the top comment, like the one that's the highest up, and or at least I was near there anyway. And Nahemia, which sounds like anemia. Well, thank you. Have you seen my videos before? Because this is the first time that you're saying it. Sometimes it takes somebody some warming up or whatever you want to call it. Buttering up, no, I was kidding. So where are you watching from? And yes, I'm curious, is this the first video you've seen and you just love it? You've only been here a moment, so it sounds like you may have seen other ones. Anywho, point of the matter being, and part of me wants to wait until there's, but one or two people. I know this might sound a certain way, but anytime I say one can make a difference, well, there's the Go and Make a Difference song, Rip George, but there's also a Hootie song. One love can make a difference. Love of any type. Take this love and pass it around. One love, keep on shining. I watched a couple videos. Love what you talk about. Oh, very cool. I'm curious what you remember from them. I really appreciate that. So today I'm feeling fairly musical, and I am musical. So I almost want to do that song too, though. So I'm glad that this is working out. He'll be glad too that he let me use the device. I did this song not that long ago, and it's a mild trigger to me, but I think that's more just a me thing. In a few different ways it could be, and triggers is certainly a topic we could talk about, because it's hard to avoid them sometimes. And the ones that are neutral or kind of make you feel iffy are the ones that maybe need to be talked about. And so if there's any that come to mind while you're watching this, don't be shy to mention them, and let's see what we can do about them. But I want to, okay, so I have two song ideas that I'm going to do, and I don't know which one to do first. You want me to do the one where I'm singing with a fellow YouTuber, or do you want me to do the guitar first? My ear just feels a little bit clogged up for some reason. Maybe TMI, but whatever. So I've asked a few questions there. Singing. Well, they're both going to be singing. Are you saying you've seen my other videos of singing, or are you saying that because they'd both be singing? One would include guitar, one wouldn't. It's very interesting, actually. The one I'm going to be singing with, the first video I found of hers, like I say, it was about 6 minutes long. And, okay, cool. Yeah, because I'm indecisive sometimes, and I opened it, and hopefully I'll realize that I want to do that, or you can remind me. But for whatever reason, I wanted to just hop to the song. I hadn't been up long. I knew we had some little things to do in the morning, so I wanted to hop to the song. So I skipped it. But not only is it short, she actually did 2 versions. And the first one, it's weird because I thought she said after that, and it was like I didn't see it when I watched it again, that she couldn't find an instrumental version of it. But she was singing to an acoustic version. And it wasn't a new video that she did just since getting my comment this morning, I don't believe. If so, maybe she's alive and well, and we're connect. We have similar music interests. I think we maybe have similar personalities from what I'm seeing so far. And it'd be cool to connect with fellow YouTuber. I mean, out of curiosity, Nahimia, that sounds African, is it? Interesting image, by the way. It can be with comments, but it can also be, on their channel and perhaps and possibly other platforms. Sometimes that happens too. You're the only one here, but I mean, you're here, you're commenting. I appreciate that. There are times fairly often when things are pretty quiet. Okay. Well, I do try and respect religious differences. And so I think that's kind of the main thing as far as with that topic. But I'm going to be honoring one of my fathers, and maybe you could look at it as both. But even though I only had him for a few years in my life, my dad was important to me and worth honoring. So I'm going to do this Reba cover now, but I'm not singing with Reba, so it should be okay. And it's called The Greatest Man. It's actually called The Greatest Man I Never Knew, but I'm going to tweak it because I did know him. Barely. In fact, she's not even at this point in time doing this to tribute her, and she needs more attention on her channel. And I want to know, is she alive? Is she well? Is she going to make content again? She's actually doing this to tribute a friend by someone who just saw this song was requested by someone that may not have even been a friend or someone she was close with. I mean, strangers always start out as strangers, right? Anyway, basically, and she did say something really nice that kind of sounds religious, but you could take it however. I hope you find solace in listening to it. May God bless you and keep, and this was in the description, which I just happened to notice. May God bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you and give you peace. Thanks for the like. Do you know many Reba songs out of curiosity? I know a few. I like a few. In fact, it's interesting that I mentioned one of the people I alluded to earlier and a story I told in one of my videos recently, because after I went through that, it all worked out. It was one of the rare times that this agency posted a video of other people, Reba McEntire, yeah, but it actually doesn't sound that country. So my aunt's little comment, which wasn't much of a comment at the wedding, so I guess she does too. One time we were actually in a Chinese restaurant or Asian restaurant, and there was country music playing, and she thought it was a little weird. I don't know whether I agree or not, but was really, I guess you like country music then, since that was, but anywho, I remember coming home and I was a little bit shaken up. Like, I was really disappointed. I don't know what was going on in my life, not to be able to go to this place for a few days. And I remember actually another Reba song, Somehow You Do, chords, Reba, that came to mind. I associate it with this time because I learned it then, I think. And yeah, but it was one of the rare times that they posted a picture on their social media page of the people that were there at that time, and they were older people who I would have thought would have been old-fashioned and not comfortable with it. I don't think they would have done it without permission. And it was a guy that is, and this is coming from me, really loud, laughs at absolutely everything, even if it's not funny or not meant to be, and just kind of annoying. I did have something in common with him, and I can be that way, I suppose, but kind of annoying. Anywho, without any further ado, I'm going to do this song, I'm going to do the Hootie song, and then I'm going to do Somehow You Do, and then we'll see where we're at from there. Oh, I don't know if I should. I'll do it afterwards. But here's a quick preview. A bit of that hair that I was describing to. This is interesting. This is very interesting. Before I start, it's not been uploaded yet, and it's going to be on my friend's channel. But she actually interviewed me about something. If I don't know how much in detail I should be about this. I don't, you're religious. I don't know how open-minded you are. But let's just say that there was this mysterious woman that got mentioned that had brown, kind of spiky hair, and I didn't know who it was about at the time. And I don't know this person, like I say. But she does actually kind of fit that description, that I was just reminded of that, and I wonder if it was her. And I didn't even know about her at that time. So this is interesting. Anyway, here we go. The greatest man I ever knew lived just down the hall. Every day we said hello, but barely touched at all. He was in his paper. I had some paper recently old. I don't know where it went. I was in my new. No, I'm not. How was I? I'm sorry that. Just a moment. I mean, how? What made you ask that? And I mean, no. I just want you to know I'm not. I'm a very loving person, and I personally don't know a lot of them, a lot of Black people very closely, but I'm not against it. I'm curious because there was something that was said in one of my other recent videos. Okay, well, what is? Oh, wait, you said it was from the Bible, right? But I am curious where you're watching from. No, I mean, I don't think it. See, sometimes for good reason. I'll start again in a moment. Sometimes for good reason, you did say okay, but people of certain races may be sensitive to racism, I guess. Pennsylvania. Oh, that's interesting. That's popped up a couple times recently. There was a Mark Thomas who was also musical, actually, and I could cover some of his songs. There was one or two other people. I think that's what you're saying, Pennsylvania. But yeah, I thought about that because there was something. There's been a couple times recently, just a couple. One just today, earlier actually, where I said something and it may have been, but I was just being whimsical and goofy. Sometimes it's curious, and yeah, it's good. I'm glad that you asked so that I wasn't misinterpreted, or so that it wasn't misinterpreted. And a racist person wouldn't say that probably, but then it looks like you've left. But no, I mean I don't necessarily think of it because just a moment. Just a moment. I don't know if you can. Oh, we didn't let me find that. Sorry, we just had. Is that you back, Nahimia? We just had somebody to the door, which actually kind of further on this topic. I will do the music, I promise. But no, I just want to say that whether it is you or not that's back, and then the person leaves, could be a connectivity issue, though. watched a couple of videos and love what you talk about. I love watching you. Singing with Fellow, just in case this doesn't show afterwards, although I think I have it set to FELLO YouTuber. That's fine. I'm just saying, so you know that I'm not making this up. There's 3 hearts. It's not. I don't know though. The fact that the person left does make me think that possibly they don't believe me, or maybe that I'm making too big of a thing of this. I mean, she did say, "Oh, okay," when I said what I said, but that's kind of reminds me of Ray's sister saying, "It's fine." I'm just, I don't want to get in details, but it's like, is it fine? Is it okay? But it should be. I mean, I feel bad. I feel bad because, this is the thing when someone doesn't know you well, although they've known me a little bit via the video, and it sounded like they were more talking videos. There's a couple things I'd really like to say more on that, whether I need to or not. And I'd like for, I'm see, this is again, I'm not sure, so I'm asking. And that's what I would like to recommend for anybody, and I'll put it here so other people. I wish I hadn't said that though, because, I don't know if it was because of that or some other reason the person left. If I didn't care about people's feelings and I was racist, I wouldn't be so bothered. Maybe this is a benefit to being scripted, but I still feel like even if I was scripted, whether my eyes bounce or I just, for whatever reason, I wouldn't follow it entirely. Like I had actually just came on intending to do one song, but then kind of talk about, the afterlife and angels kind of came into it. And then there was some communication. And then I was thought of a couple other songs that you noticed. And I mean, it's fine, but I must say though, maybe I shouldn't take this too much to heart or whatever the phrase is, because not to sound mean or insensitive, and I know that I can be sensitive, and it's interesting we were talking about, alluded to triggers. Maybe I triggered something there, because this is the thing, is that part of me thinks that's quite not a little, that's quite sensitive. Just to say that, I mean, I didn't know that it was biblical. I've never heard that. I mean, I'm no expert, but I've never heard, so to ask, and I think my answer must be yes then, just because they're in Pennsylvania or Philadelphia, whatever. I'm not American. I can't remember. Well, Philadelphia, right? Yeah. So anywho, but I know, even though most people are not like Trump, I know that when we see people that are, terrible people, we know they're out there. I don't think I give that vibe though. So I mean, we had somebody just deliver some medication. There was an Asian guy, and he was lovely. He smiled nicely at me, and yeah. I also would like to share another story, but I almost want to wait. I certainly don't want to jump back into the song. Although if she comes back, that would be nice. Or if this individual comes back, I honestly don't know what the gender is. I keep thinking it's a woman. I don't know why though. They're a woman. Sorry, but this is where it's like, oh well, you're saying they're there anyway. Political correctness, social nuances, you know. But I mean, as much as I want to say this person's feelings are valid and they have a right to them, there's a part of me that thinks I think they need to realize that they're a little bit sensitive. Whether they're black or not, a little bit sensitive to a curious question. And she stayed for a little bit, and I can't remember if it was before or the person stayed for a little bit. I can't remember if the light came before or after. We'll see if although sometimes YouTube glitches. But there's no way I can bring them back, unless they come back. I'm saying they because I don't know what the name is. Because okay. And this is where they say that in writing it can be hard to tell, but I think I just found out, by them leaving. Um, Things can get misinterpreted. They can anyway, somewhat. But was that okay or oh okay? Uh, you know. That being said, though, if she doesn't come back and she chose to unsubscribe, sure, there are many religious people that will accept, the things about me that I sometimes share, whether this person's heard me talk about them or other stuff, because it really is quite diverse. But possibility is maybe someone was looking out for me. I'm so lucky and blessed and thankful because none of us deserve hate, although some people aren't as are worse people than other people, and sometimes you got to give them their medicine, so to speak. But I know this is YouTube, but like I don't deserve hate. And I don't feel like I got it, with what's transpired here. But but maybe it would have came in the form of religion. I'm thinking about that place. I'm thinking of a few people. Not that country, like the place that I was alluding to earlier. And she did seem like she was open minded. She must have heard of Reba, or if she didn't, she was curious, and that they were curious. Whatever. It's not. It's not. I don't know. To be honest, and again, but I don't. I don't know for sure. I kind of know my aunt. I kind of know that she can be a certain sort of way sometimes. I don't know if I'd call her racist, but I think she's a bit more. What's the word? Intelligent and, for lack of a different way to put it, put together than that. But when that comment about being in the some could say Chinese, it may have. I think it was Chinese. Honestly, I'm not good at geography. I don't know everything, and this may sound offensive. It's not meant to, but honestly, and I remember one time I said someone I kind of knew, but not well. Well, you're from Asia. He says I'm not Asian. He didn't get worked up, and he kind of let it slide. He was Filipino, but I think I said something to the effect of, "But that's part of Asia, is it not?" He was like, "Well, like you got a point," kind of thing. I mean, so yes, it was very likely a Chinese restaurant because I don't know if I've ever been to a Japanese one. I mean, I don't do a lot of sushi, which may or may not be more Japanese than Chinese. Um, and it wasn't Korean. So, but I mean, Asian is kind of all encompassing, I would say. I think maybe one reason why somebody may be sensitive to that is because when they're very proud of their culture. See, some people aren't because of what it's brought them. And either way, some people are because of what it brought them, and it's who they are, and it's their family and all that. So I guess it's true that it could come across as like you're dishonoring my culture by being so vague. I'm just being all encompassing, really. But it's not that I don't get along with religious people, and it's not even entirely that I'm not religious, to some extent. But if it's, I'm starting to get the feel like maybe, my angels, because they can be with me and they can be with their other loved ones, but how I think it works, from what I gathered, is like, I mean, when you think about ashes, being cremated or whatever, it kind of makes sense. Um, People always say we're stardust, or dust, whatever, right? Or and I feel like it's hard to wrap your head around, so I make sense of it the best that we can. But I feel like um, there are particles or elements of a soul in one place, and they can be in other places, and doesn't mean like that they're in one more than the other, or whatever, this and that, you know. And so um, they can. Um, so I sense that maybe my angels were around this person too, and somehow got them to look away. It's unfortunate because sometimes things are a bit quiet, and this person kind of brought a bit of activity, a bit of appreciation and stuff. But I feel almost like my dad or Ray or somebody is trying to say, yeah, but this particular religious person, and maybe they're wrong, maybe I'm wrong. You may not have, and I'm not trying to diss religion either. You know, uh, may not have been someone that you would actually get along with if you. And I'm not gonna, that song that I alluded to in the short video last night, the both of us. I'm not going to do it. That little song I made up. I think it's not racist. It's a little bit, I guess, would be slightly provocative, maybe. So I'm not going to. But yeah, I sense like they're just saying, this is not someone we all can relate or align with people in one way or another. And yeah, he had just gotten started. It's true. Uh, and we can all, I believe, on the furniture. I didn't put it on the bed. I didn't drop it on the floor when I brought it up there. So I don't think he's going to get into it. I'm pretty sure I put it on the table or on the dresser. Yeah, because I didn't. Although now I'm wondering, did I put it on the bed? Just a moment, because it's medication and I don't want the dog to get it. Um, so there's a lot more going into this video than intended, but that's how it is sometimes, right? I wanted other people to see it. I wanted this person to possibly see it when they came back, if they come back. I do believe that my angels have the power to bring me more goodness. Sometimes, it's not an easy job they have in some ways. If we call it, if we look at it as they have, you know, as a, we should try and make it as easy as we can on them. But life is hard and stuff and that. But you know, they it's not, but yeah, there's always things that you can relate to and common ground and liking with people, and but that doesn't mean that it's to the level. It can, of course, obviously, we all know that in our life, I think, but doesn't mean that it's to the level that it's meant to get very deep with somebody, or you know. But basically, um, I don't want this to die. I'll hopefully get this reset in a minute. But I just want to say a little bit more on this. But yeah, so um, why sometimes I feel it doesn't happen. Um, yeah, it's my dad's actually saying because, well, actually not miracle workers, you know, and actually seems to be saying that I'm not far off when I say that even God isn't almighty. He may be great. I'm not saying he's not the creator. I'm not saying he doesn't exist. I'm not saying that he doesn't do good in the world. But you can totally see where he may be falling short. So, um, and it's people too, and you know, could say the other one as well, but it's but he says we do our best. He says, and if it's with strangers, and this is very interesting that this is coming up, and I that's being said the way it's said, and it's like interesting. Yeah, you know, uh, he said, you know, we do try with somebody's loved ones first, but not everybody's gonna, you know, some people are just busy, and if they're not busy, they're distracted, or they're doing unwell, or they're not picking up on it. And he says sometimes we will go to strangers, and people shouldn't be as afraid of ghosts. He says that I think I mentioned Halloween in this video. He says the way that the media often portrays them is, as you know, not very accurate and real. You know, sure, people won't necessarily, and I've never heard this before myself, in this way. It says may not want to hear that people have ghosts that are strangers in their home, but I can tell you one thing about us as angels. Although we're pretty good about knowing the details of our loved one's lives, sometimes we do get a little bit confused. So, you know, we hear things about how a house may be haunted um, because um, of a previous owner, for instance, right? And just thinking about a previous owner, and you know, people get kind of frightened sometimes, and they want to sage it, and if that helps them, great. And you know, when weird things happen, because some of them seem to be more able than others, or they're I don't know. That is not something. Maybe I'll research it. Maybe I won't. I don't know if I'd want to be honest. But we know that they happen. Honestly, for what I do, it doesn't actually happen that much in our home. It's mostly visits of loved ones. They don't you know do things with technology sometimes, but I also think part of that is because I'm pretty good at sensing them without them doing that. So, but he is saying that that um, that people can, angels, you know, they can think they can think I don't think my loved one still lives here, but do they ever come back here? Are they here? And sometimes he says we can be a little clumsy, even though we're not in the same dimensions as people. So sometimes we can walk into things or accidentally turn something on or off, you know. Um, so, but he said, but he's saying, I want people to know that usually 95 to 99% of the time, uh, if they're sensing energy like that in their house, it's either their own loved ones and they shouldn't be scared, or it's somebody else's loved one and it's almost always good energy, you know. And actually, I'm thinking about it actually, and I had that happen once, and I thought of it a couple of times recently. Um, Being a medium, I don't feel like it comes to me super often for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know. It's a very in depth topic, I suppose, but it's says and people when they get on the devices, as you know, so much suggestions come at them, and you know, and he says, "Can I be real honest with you, son?" And this is very interesting. He says, if you don't mind me saying, he says there have been times when there's been somebody watching, and sometimes they don't stay long, and in fact, one of them even said, "Why am I seeing this?" I remember that actually. It was in the news feed, and I don't know why they. I said, "I don't know, but you are welcome." I don't remember much other details, but I don't think there was many. But it's kind of like it's kind of like he says, "How do I explain how we do it?" Honestly, in this mode and with the YouTube thing, we're just showing you on the news feed a lot of pretty much, and you know, he says rarely, but we do sometimes. He says we'll kind of like we don't want to scare them and we don't want to get too in depth. But he says truly most people do have some sort of telepathic, do have some telepathy abilities. So we'll sometimes whisper, click, click, you know, as in click into the video and watch it. But then they're like, you know, I saw something else I wanted to click. I did a misclick, and they go, or you know, maybe, but later, or some of the things I sometimes guess, you know, and so it's ironic though because one of the, I mean, maybe they'd never heard of the one artist that I was going to do, but one of the songs I was going to cover is actually a black singer, and it's hard to realize that I had somebody who seemed interested and went away, and it does feel like they thought I was racist even though I said I wasn't, and I thought it looked like I was going to try and address it more, but whether it did or whether it didn't, maybe they thought people have all kinds of opinions about race, and this guy just seems like the type that does, and he's trying to pretend he doesn't, but honestly, I don't want to say I'm not that smart, but I don't. I do and don't know things about cultures. Not an individual is an individual at the end of the day, and they're either a good one or a bad one. That's the best way to put it, I think. You know, unfortunately, this person is not here. Maybe that's meant to be, and nobody else is here at the moment. Maybe that's the reason that you have subscribed. But there's many reasons, and again, maybe with the best of intent with some people, and then also too, um, there's just so much on YouTube. If they happen to show it to someone, I would think that some of them, whether they're of the same racial background or not, would say, "I think you misunderstood this person," and maybe a touch sensitive. um, or you could say quite sensitive, no judgment, kind of thing. And then they'll come back and we'll see if they're meant to. It's or they won't. It is what it is. But it's hard when somebody misunderstands you. I think we all go through that, and I certainly have at times. It's weird because I think I'm very easy to read and understand, and I'm fairly open with my thoughts. But to those that don't know me that well, and I actually, I don't, and also sometimes, and there was somebody briefly there, sometimes it's a descriptor. Like if you don't know the person's name or you don't know them well enough that you remember their name, and it might help, like on their channel. Not that there's not a lot of black people out there, for instance, but if you say, "Oh, it was this black person," and it was something to the effect of this was the title, and maybe this is something that somebody that is meant to see, well, then they can look up that title and say, "Yeah, this must be the one because they're black and they said they had big glasses." There is more than one descriptor, but sometimes there's not many. So it's just, you know. But I'm thinking of the place too a little bit now, and it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm gonna add in the comments, although it would be funny if somebody saw the post in the group and then saw this and saw the thing. I don't even know if it's gonna be proof, but hopefully this will show after the fact. I haven't said that way. They left, but I did say it. One of the songs is by a black singer. I also, if need to prove further, said thought positive, and what I've been talking to them, because I just so happen to have your positive thoughts for a woman walking in the rain. This way, while I'm doing the song, if she tunes in, she'll be like, "Are there any other comments? Has anybody else said anything on this, or have they?" Or, but again, I'm not. But my dad says, "But we all love you up here, and even though whether it's online or in person, that's important too. We understand you. We love you. We care about you. We want to hear you sing. If your Bluetooth works, I'll turn this on, but it should show up anywhere. I would have thought." So I don't know if I need to read that comment out. I think that I've already said a lot of things which will hopefully make people realize that I'm not. Unfortunately, right. Nobody's going to understand everybody all the time. It's the truth. Yeah, there's another one of the greatest men. I don't know why this time it's saying, "Are you sure?" There's another one of the greatest men. Always believing in me and my abilities, even when sometimes I have a hard time showing things. I don't want this to turn into what seems like a eulogy, and just being fun. And even though we are different in a lot of ways, we're also very similar to each other. And my dad, Gary Reed, also. I could do this tomorrow, his actual birthday. I'll do a topic on that later. when she said she likes the stuff I talk about, or this person said, I mean, maybe they have heard me talk about that stuff, but I talk about a lot of stuff. I'm so thankful. I said, which would I rather? Comments that are hateful or rude or whatever, or none? I mean, I could ignore the hateful or rude, but no, I think I'd rather go with none. And that's, often right again. Like some people are biting their tongue. I'm thankful, but honestly, I'm a really laid back, fun guy, free spirit, so to speak, and I hope that people see that and appreciate it. So I still feel like singing this song. He'll be down shortly, but.
The greatest man I ever knew lived just down the hall. Every day we'd say hello, but never touched at all. He was in his paper, I was in that room. How was I to know he thought I hung the moon? The greatest man I ever knew came home late at night. He never had too much to say. Too much was on his mind. I never really knew him. Oh, and now it seems so sad. Everything he gave to us took all he had. And the days turned into years, and the memories to black and white. He grew cold like an old wind. Blowing across my life. The greatest words I never heard, and someday I'll never will. The man I thought could never die has been dead almost a year. He was good at business, but there was business left to do. He never said he loved me. Yes, he thought I knew.
That went fast. But I love you. I love you so much. Love you too, Dad. I feel a real sense of peace. But I don't. Okay, right. That person wasn't local, but I don't want locals to be getting the wrong impression of me. If any locals do see it, this is a thing. But you know what? That person did leave me with some positivity as well, and I want to appreciate that. Like we would suggest, and like lots of people would suggest. I love what you talk about. I love watching you. I'm interested. trying to decide which of the two songs. Well, PA is a big place actually. Which of the two songs I still want to do. I kind of don't want to mention her further, the one who I just sang with, until somebody's here, because I don't know if anybody would see this far in and tell me. I could do this again tomorrow. I could. But I do feel like I just did now. And because things were a little bit diverted, I don't necessarily have more energy at the moment, or not much of it. And there is nobody here watching, so I don't know. As much as I could do it well and it could be fine, I think I'm deciding not to do the one other song. So I'm going to close it. And it's not because he's a black singer, it's because of one of the lyrics. And I don't know if I could see myself singing it on here. Somebody just tuned in, and I'm thinking of doing one more song maybe then to wrap this up. And if it's the person who was here earlier and commented, I put some comments to the corner here or in the live chat, and you left. Whether it was them or not, who knows? I've been doing a lot of content and stuff, and I have been, putting a lot of energy into the videos and stuff, and it's not just mine; it's the loved ones sometimes, and quite honestly, I am kind of tired. Life is short. You got to do them while you're living, and with your loved ones and that. And even though we can say, oh, we have a long weekend still, who knows? Who knows? But I do think that means that I need to change tasks for a little bit, go upstairs and connect with the other person in the home. But I'll keep that other song open and maybe do it later as a short one, just one song or whatever. I don't know. I do and don't like a lot of her stuff. I know that sounds funny, but I don't know if it's worthwhile to share about this person, because I could easily wander away later, from this tab or whatever. And I wouldn't mind checking out more of her songs. Maybe I'll sing with more of her stuff. There is a feeling that I get that maybe this person has passed away, and if they haven't, I would hope they're laid back and free spirited enough to understand and be okay with the fact that I sang with them. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And honestly, as far as their I know she's on the internet, on YouTube, and so you could say, well, this is the internet, nothing's private on the internet. But people, a lot of people still like some degree of privacy. So what I was going to suggest for anybody who happens to see this far in, was that, well, I guess a couple things, and actually the most obvious one I'll say first, but it wasn't what I thought first. If you do know her, you could ask her if she's okay with them putting, or she herself, if she can, her full name in the comments of this video, or any of the video. And I want people to know, although I'm not, and it may seem like it sometimes, although I'm not on live streaming and online 24/7, because I do have other things that I do with my time, and including human things like sleeping and cooking and all this and that. But and there are other people like this is like me as well, but there are a lot that aren't. I do want it to be said that I'm very likely to would see your comment pretty quickly if you did this. Whether it's this is how you maybe I'd be pretty likely to see it, and then either I or you can delete, and hopefully I will have seen it. I can like it and let you know that I did. I should do this channel, but or you could say the name of someone you know that is connected to them on, say, like, social media page that's passed away that has an open, like, the friend list showing, and then I could go through there. But then other people might too. So I kind of think the person I just sang with, all I know is that her name is Anne Marie, and her channel name, there's somebody very briefly there, is Dance in the AM. Kind of different. Haven't seen a whole. She did have one video. I didn't watch it yet, but of dancing. I haven't seen a whole lot of dancing, but there was dancing in the AM, and I mean, it's a good way to get moving in the morning and that. But yeah. So I'm curious who that is, and did I just sing with an angel, or an earth angel, or a heaven's angel? And it went really fast. It is a short video, but unlike this one. But yeah, I might sing with more of her stuff. We'll see. But anyway, take care.